Fight night, folks. Devontae Davis. About to enter the arena. Right here on time, baby. We in this.
What'd you say about Thurman?
Oh, take another picture.
Fuck Thurman.
Why you say fuck Thurman?
Fuck that bitch
AP
ass.
right here, cuz. AP right
you know, so now it's just, you know, I'm not just living for myself, so I gotta be aware of, you know, what I do before, you know, I do it. So she calmed me down a lot, you know, as a person, but not as a fighter. So I'm loving the fatherhood, you know, I'm thankful for her. I love her to death. I can't wait to see her.
Big round of applause. Sport of boxing. We look forward to actually, you know, Ladarius has had some big wins. He's been on a hell of a win streak, you know, as of lately. So, you know, I think it's 135. And I know he was fighting at 140 in the beginning, but he's at 35. And I think his next fight should be for the title. So, you know, we're proud of another Mayweather Promotions fighter. So, only thing I want to continue to do is put fighters in position to accomplish what they want to accomplish their dreams, and to be the best that they could possibly be at what they want to do. Tank, when I took Tank to Miami, I took Tank to Dubai, I took Tank to Egypt, took him all around the world with me, and sat with him and kept telling him, you can do the same thing, just listen.
Before I start talking about the card, I just want to give a shout out to a couple of people who I ran into during fight weekend. We covered the final press conference, the weigh-in, and then Saturday night, the fight. So you can see some of those other videos. I want to give a shout out first to Ray. Ray was working the lights and the cameras, and as I sat on Friday night uploading a video, Friday afternoon I should say, Ray was giving me the ins and outs of what he does. He's been doing it for 50 years, and one thing I wasn't too sure if he was working for Showtime. No, he had the Showtime t-shirt on, but he does so many types of events, concerts, you name it. And he was telling me how he thought he'd be home by now, but it's like a lot of the guys are lost without him running the show. So I don't know how much longer Ray's going to do it, but good guy. I want to give a shout out to a lovely young lady named Minnie, as in Minnie Mouse is what she told me. And she works with Jeff Mayweather, among other people, and we had a nice chat. Minnie saved me some candy. You know what I'm talking about. I want to give a shout out to my man Bernard from Cali, living in Virginia right now. He has known Alan Heyman for years, and Sam Watson for years, going back to the music business, which is where they kind of got their start, and comedy shows and so on and so forth. Bernard, you're a cool dude, man. Keep doing what you do, and I'll probably get in touch with you. Shout out to Sam Watson. Me and him kind of linked up and did some things during the weekend that I'll keep to myself. Sam's a good dude. And lastly, Rory Brown. True boxing fan. Very good. I mean, knows his stuff. Rory Brown. Good to meet you, bro. And we'll get in contact and maybe meet up at a future fight. Alright, so Gervonta Davis. He moved his record to 22 wins, 0 losses, 22 knockouts, with a second round stoppage, we'll call it a bit controversial, of Ricardo Nunez, who drops to 21 wins, 3 losses, 19 knockouts. As I stated, the bout wasn't without controversy. Even some of Gervonta's biggest fans who weren't casuals believed that the referee, Harvey Doc, who's my guy, but we're going to begin to call him Harvey Premature Stoppage Doc, as he stopped another one, I believe, a bit too early. Time was 1 minute 33 seconds of the second round. And when you look at Doc historically, I mean, there have been some fights, just 2 that come off the top of my head. The Charlo versus Lubin. If you go past when Lubin was trying to get up and he was looking like an animal that was learning how to walk after just being birthed or what have you. If you actually do a 10 count, you'll see that Lubin, he struggled 6, 7 or what have you, and then 8, 9 he's up. And a lot of people thought him trying to get up was funny. I didn't think it was funny. He didn't get knocked. He was like Dominic Brazil with Wilder. Lubin got short-circuited. You know, he wasn't out cold. He attempted to get up and he was struggling, and then, but it's a 10 count, and he was up, but Doc got caught up in a moment. I think things move a bit too fast for Harvey. Harvey was, a few years ago, my #1 rated referee, but there's just been too many instances where he's just been early. Another fight with Harvey Doc, and that's debatable. I mean, I was there live. But another instance was Daniel Jacobs when he fought Peter Quillen, and Jacobs jumped on him. This is a title fight, and Quillen, was Quillen the champion back then? I believe he might have been, but and he's a Brooklyn guy. Fight was in Brooklyn, 2 Brooklyn guys, and it just, I thought it could have gone earlier. And people, Nunez would have just got knocked out anyway. Yes, so would have Diego Corrales against in his fight when he fought Castillo. Yep, he was going to get knocked out too. So one thing I will say, the fight didn't have anything to do with the deaths of 2 boxers in the ring recently. It didn't have anything to do with that. It had to do with Harvey Doc. And the reason I say that is some of the non-televised undercard fights, there were guys who were getting nearly decapitated, and they let them fight on. They let them go. And when you absorb that punishment for 8, 9, 10 rounds or something like that, okay. So you look at Maxim Dadashev. Okay, that was a sustained punishment. You look at Hugo. You know, that was sustained. And you don't know if it's actually the fight where it happens. Like, many people in Philadelphia would tell you that Meldrick Taylor was every much a victim of the Philadelphia gym wars than he was Julio Cesar Chavez. So when you look at Zab Judah, that sustained, that was over the course. When you look at Gerald McClellan, there were rumors from sparring partners that said he collapsed in the Kronk gym a couple of times. This was before the his fight he had, where he suffered because maybe a referee could have stopped. But his fight with Nigel Benn, when he almost had Nigel Benn out of the ring, knocked out of the ring. But nevertheless, everyone has an opinion. So, but in my opinion, I think Doc jumped the gun early, and all of his fights that were stopped early. The Charlo and Lubin, that was what, first round. Davis Nunez second round, and Jacobs Quillen first round. So I don't know. And listen, before you jump, well, so you want guys to die in the ring? Look, this is boxing, dude, and I'm talking about early stoppages, early in fights, no sustained beatings. When I haven't seen the fight yet, and boy, I was supposed to really stay home and watch this. The Maurice Hooker versus Jose Ramirez, or now I guess if you're historical, then you call it Ramirez Hooker now, right? He some commentaries, some comments Maurice Hooker made, and I'm not quoting him word for word, but he said something along the lines of, listen, I have no problem with the referee's stoppage because we just had two guys die in the ring, and I don't want to be the third. And people were like, okay, amen, brother. But nah, dude, if that's your thought process, then you're going to get knocked out more than likely again. But more importantly, if you're making a comment like that, then get out of the sport. You're in the wrong sport. I just didn't like the wording of what he said. So, I don't know how bad Hooker was hurt, but come on, man. Get out of the sport. So anyway, some of the conversation ringside was that due to the death of Maxim and Hugo, which ironically was in Maryland, also the Maxim fight, they stopped it. And so Harvey Doc, here's the last problem I'll mention I have with Harvey. Harvey Doc said, I saw Nunez get hit with a couple big shots, and I decided to stop it. I thought Nunez was defenseless at that point, and he was. Tank punched him, and he kept on coming. Nunez dropped his hands, and he was unable to defend himself. So I have to stop the fight. I don't like the fact that you're referring to a fighter as a referee. I don't like the fact that you're referring to him by nickname. Tank punched him and kept on coming. Like, dude, you and Tank ain't boys, man. Gervonta or Davis maybe, but not. I mean, you calling guys by their moniker, man. Like, come on, dude. Anyway, so it was a combination of many shots, including a couple nice left hands and a right that caused Doc to jump in. So they kind of felt each other out in the first round, and Nunez took the lead and was moving forward. Davis landed some shots. But the interesting thing about Davis is when he's in there with someone who can punch or someone who can defend himself a little bit, and it starts going some rounds, what's going to happen? Is Davis going to gas out? I thought if Nunez could work it, get it to like the fourth round or something like that, then it would be interesting if Nunez could start putting hands on Gervonta Davis and seeing if his power is legitimate power or not. Didn't get that chance. That's the way the cookie crumbles. So you have to move on. But I was disappointed once again. So in the second round, Nunes landed a shot behind Davis's head, and it kind of. So and then Doc warned Nunes, and then Davis seemed to come to life after that, and then the fight stopped short. So in the post-fight press conference, somebody asked Gervonta about Tevin Farmer, and then Floyd Jr. kind of jumped in, and while they mentioned Tevin Farmer as their choice as a next opponent, rumor has it Yuriorkis Gamboa is going to be next. And that's more than likely what's going to happen. Floyd Jr. said they're looking at like an October type thing to fight Tevin Farmer in New York, but Eddie Hearn has twice reached out to them with offers, and they haven't responded. So why would I believe this is going to happen? It may, but if not, we'll see Gamboa, who, whatever age they say he is, I'd add some years to it. It's the Cuban rule as far as age is concerned. So that was that. I mean, everyone expected a stoppage, and they got it. I thought it was a little bit. I thought it was premature. In the cold feature, old man Yuriorkis Gamboa took advantage of an over-the-hill Rocky Martinez, and don't you think he wasn't, in a matchup of former champions. And Martinez has been out for 3 years, and 3 years ago I was at that fight. He got knocked out. Was I at that fight with my did I go? Yeah, I was at that fight with my ex, as a matter of fact. And she was excited. But she's probably excited to be the ex right now. That one was and he got knocked out too. He got knocked out. Lomachenko got him out of there with his right hand too. So too fast for Martinez, and Gamboa proved to be the same. You know, and if this was Gamboa's litmus test or his acid test for a fight against Davis, he passed with flying colors. Now, he'll be at a big time disadvantage, not speed wise as far as age, but there's something else that if this fight occurs, Gamboa might not look as good as he did tonight. And it doesn't have to exactly have to do with the opponent. I'll mention it in a second. But as I stated, Gamboa's speed was just too much. He landed a nice 3-punch combination to Martinez in the first round, including like 2 quick left hooks. And then early in the second round, he landed a lightning left hook, and down went Martinez. Down went Martinez. And Martinez kind of looked to his corner, pounded his glove on the canvas, and got up. And then another left hook got Martinez on his bike. And then another left-right sent him backwards. And then shortly after that, a left-right left, right, dropped Martinez, who went down and kind of squinted and picked at his nose and then opened his mouth like he was kind of checking to see if his jaw was broken. And he got up around 9, but the referee waived the fight, and there was no complaints. Now, that stoppage wasn't like, if a guy gets up, you ask him if he's okay, but in this case, it was the right call. So Gamboa, who's been around, but he only has 2 losses. Well, I mean, there's a couple debatable ones in there, but 30 wins, 2 losses, 18 knockouts. Martinez drops to 30 wins, 4 losses, 3 draws, 18 knockouts. Excuse my voice, guys. And Gamboa, just as Davis did in the main event, they both landed about half their power shots, which usually spells doom for the opponent when that happens. And in probably the most controversial fight of the night, you had Ladarius Miller, they call him Memphis. 20 wins, 1 loss, 6 knockouts. He won a very controversial 10-round split decision over Jezreel Corrales, who drops to 23 wins, 3 losses, 9 knockouts. Wasn't the most pleasing of fights. I mean, neither fighter seemed to get started early on, but Corrales seemed more relaxed. Miller was just tense. And Corrales spent a lot of the fight switching stances, orthodox, southpaw. And he got warned about hitting behind the head. And neither fighter through the first few rounds seemed to grab hold of the fight. But later in the fight, Corrales seemed to be ready to take over. Then his tape came loose on his gloves, which actually gave Miller a break. And then came the controversy. After they fixed the tape, with about 40 seconds or so left, there was some holding, and Miller threw Corrales to the ground. And then Corrales jumped up like Robert Newhouse back in the 70s and 80s for those Dallas Cowboys. He kind of just jumped up feet first. I mean, it takes an athletic dude to do that. And he was ready to finish the fight. Final round, 40 seconds. And then referee Brent Bovell inexplicably, excuse me. Got this candy in my mouth trying to help my throat out a little bit. Penalized Corrales. I don't get it. And so when I went around asking fans said, well, he held too much. He lucky he didn't get penalized earlier. And I said, that doesn't make sense. My thing is, if you didn't penalize him earlier as a referee, don't wait until the last 30 seconds of the fight to take a point in this crooked sport, which wound up being the difference in this fight as the Mayweather Promotions fighter, Ladarius Memphis Miller, moves on and is lining himself up for a title shot. So if you don't make that call, the fight's a draw. But I didn't think it was a draw. And Memphis is my guy, but I thought Corrales beat him. And of course, as the corrupt sport usually goes, Corrales lost a split decision by that 1 point. You guessed it. I'm not sure what fight Larry Hazard Jr. was watching again. And I hate picking on my New Jersey guys because I'm a New Jersey guy. So Hazard Jr. and Harvey Doc. But on this channel, you call it like it is. And I listen, I love Larry Hazard Sr. I mean, we've had some conversations. I might actually have him as a guest just to talk on this channel. And Harvey's my guy. I always yell, HD! He'll turn around, what's up, man? He'd come over and shake my hand, but I disagree with some of his stoppages. And the Larry Hazard Jr. scorecards. I mean, you can go back to that when the Charlo brothers made their debut. Or was that the father? No, that was the father's scorecard. But anyway, I didn't think it was a 96-93 fight for Miller, with or without the deduction. I thought. I mean, I don't think it was. I'm not saying it was a robbery. It was a robbery in the sense of that 40 seconds. I mean, Brent Vovell would be in my office if I was the commissioner on Monday morning, if not Saturday night. But that's just the way it goes. On the undercard, there were some local guys that picked up wins. Another Jersey guy, super flyweight, Dylan Price. He went to 9-0 with 6 knockouts with an 8-round unanimous decision. I think Dylan needs to work on work defensively, because he's been hit in 2 of his past 3 fights. One of them, something controversial happened. I won't get into it, but I'll leave that one alone. So that was it. I have to watch this Top Rank card, or the DAZN / Top Rank thing with Hooker and Ramirez, and then also want to see how Tevin Farmer looked. And that's it. So Davis, I'd like to see Gervonta as he opens up, not to open up, meaning when he's getting off with his punches. Some of those hooks are wide, and it may just be him feeling comfortable doing that with the opponent, but I don't buy that. I mean, when you're in the heat of battle and that happens, to me, then that's truly what's happening, and it's not because of an opponent, it's because of you. So I'd like to see him tighten his hooks up a little bit, and keep working to get better. However, you're a 2-time champion, super featherweight or junior lightweight, and you have to get in there and fight and unify with some of the guys. So Tevin Farmer would be a unification. Gamboa would be just a tune-up, but one where Gamboa found himself a little bit of life. Oh, and that's what I needed to mention. Yuriorkis Gamboa, they fought at a weight of 134. So Gamboa came in at 134 point whatever. So he strips down, butt naked, and the angle was wrong, so a lot of women got to see the family jewels and the jewels. So when he stripped down and when he was naked, he stepped on the scale and he was 134.6. So you lose 6/10 of a pound, or 2 into 6 goes 3/5. So they asked him, "What are you going to do?" He said, "Well, we got secret ways of doing stuff. We're not going to tell you." Which translated in to he probably went outside and went running. It was in the mid-90s, so he went out running. And he came back. When he came back, he's sitting around because the commission was in a meeting. And they're like, I'm like, well, what's up? Commission finally came out. He stepped on the scale. And he came in at 132. And I'm like, dude, you just lost. You just lost 2. He didn't look too good. I mean, after the run, because he wanted some water. I mean, he wanted, like, he's like, look, man, I'm trying to rehydrate here, and I done watered down, got sweat dripping all over me, and I'm looking a little to the point where it's like, yo, come on now, I need to get some of this Gatorade or whatever he drank. And they finally came out, and 132, and I'm like, oh wow, you overdid it a little bit. Now they're saying something was wrong with the scale because the scale at their hotel was on the money. You know how that goes. I've seen it a million times. in the state of Maryland alone. So Gamboa, so that fight is at 134, and he had to sweat down to get to that. So what do you think is going to happen if he's next for Gervonta Davis? He's going to have to lose an additional 4.6 pounds to get to 130. I mean, the guy's probably going to be a skeleton at the weigh-in. But if he can somehow take the confidence he took from Martinez, I think he can do something now. Of course, he's not the hardest guy to hit either, so he's going to have to survive early on against Gervonta. And if he does, and he's able to get a little offense off, now we'll see something, maybe. But that's if it occurs. I think it's the more likely matchup. Maybe they'll work something out with Eddie Hearn and Tevin Farmer. That would be nice also. We'll see. The point is, they're talking about Gervonta fighting for the 3rd time this year, which is good for him. That keeps him active, and he'll continue to learn. But boxing right now is full of champions who are learning on the fly. Most of them are stepping in with guys, though, and which is good. But things happen so soon, so fast these days, that these champions are really, even Anthony Joshua. I mean, he only had, what, 20, 21 fights? So they're champions who are learning while champions. So some of them are going to get taught some lessons, as AJ did. Some of them are going to continue to pass, and some of them are going to not step up and fight. So we'll see. We'll see. But that's pretty much the report from Baltimore. Not going to the Areola and Kalnacki fight. And I'm not sure about Spence Jr. and Porter and Wilder and Ortiz and all that. Both of which will be pay-per-views, by the way, which is disappointing. Premier Boxing has had 7 pay-per-views in the past 12 months. And then Floyd Jr. said that the Farmer versus Davis will be pay-per-view. Don't think it should be. I don't think Wilder and Ortiz should be either. But I know how I watch those fights. And if you want to know, shoot me an email. There are a few ways. And there's a way I watch it. And I pay. But I don't pay that much. And that's the plan A. I got backup plans too, but plan A is working very well so far. So anyway, talk long enough. Catch you guys on the next one.